Developmental psychology is the branch of psychology that studies physical, cognitive, and social change throughout the lifespan. When focusing on the childhood aspect of developmental psychology, Jean Piaget pioneered the way. He created the idea that there was 4 stages in his main theory. The first one was sensory motor stage. That's from birth to about 2 years old. This is when infants know the world mostly by ways of looking, hearing, touching, grasping, and mouthing, or sensory impressions and motor activities. They are aware that things continue to exist even when not perceived, and that's the idea of object permanence. So this younger kids don't really have the idea so much that things exist even when they're not perceived, but as they get older, by 8 months, infants begin to have memory of objects that are no longer seen, such as when they're playing with toys. They know that things are there even when the toys aren't in front of them. Researchers also think that Piaget underestimated young children's competence at this point. So they now test ideas such as baby physics and baby math to show that infants are more competent at this age than Piaget first thought. The second stage is from age 2 to age 6 or 7, and this is the pre-operational stage. This is where a child learns to use language, but they don't fully comprehend the mental operations of logic, and such as like an imagining an action and mentally reserving it. They can't do both of those things at the same time. A good example for this is the idea of conservation, and that's the principle that properties such as mass, volume, and the number remain the same despite changes in the form of objects. So that, like, the idea that quantity remains the same even in the different shapes. This is shown through an experiment where there's several different glasses full of different volumes and different quantities, and that kids aren't really able to either figure it out or that they are. So either kids are ahead in this stage or they're not. At this point in Piaget's theory, he thinks that children are egocentric, which means that they have difficulty taking another one's point of view and they can only see the world through themselves because that's all they can physically and cognitively comprehend. And that's, again, the theory of mind, which people's ideas about their own and other mental states and feelings and behaviors are thought through theirs. And that you might predict these ways based on your own cognitive thinking, and that is what the child is beginning to do. The third stage is the concrete operational stage, and that's at about age 7. This is the cognitive development stage, which children gain mental operations and enable them to think logically about concrete events, and math becomes easier for kids at this age, and they're able to do simple things as like simple math. Think about the math that you did when you were probably in kindergarten and stuff. It's adding numbers, whereas in this next stage, they get the idea to logically think about abstract concepts. This is the formal operational stage. It's about age 12, and people begin to have the idea where they can do addition and then reverse it in subtraction and think that 4 plus 2 is 6, but then when you take 4 away from 6, you then get 2. And then another psychologist play off of this was Lev Vygotsky, a Russian psychologist, and he had the idea that the mind goes through interaction with physical environment, and that's how it grows, such as like a scaffold, which is the frameworks that offers children temporary support as they develop higher levels of thinking. So this helps them kind of micromanage all of their things and kind of put into place. So again, Jean Piaget had 4 stages of developmental psychology: the sensory motor stage, the pre-operational stage, concrete operational stage, and then the formal operational stage.